Hey, what's going on, When I think back on my childhood, these are immediately the figures that I remember because the Voyager class Optimus Prime mold was one of my first Optimus Prime figures. I owned the Revenge of the Fallen copy, which was the same figure, different paint, and I just remember it being the most fun figure I had as a kid. So for me, these make me very nostalgic. But you can see here we have the original Voyager class figure, and then the Target exclusive RoboVision Optimus with a little bit more accurate paint, and he is packaged in robot mode. Just coming and looking at that, just the packaging on these figures, it takes me back, because these were my childhood. And I know these were the figures a lot of kids had when the movies came out, because not a lot of people wanted to spend a bunch of money on the leader classes. But speaking of the leader classes, let's look at those. Again, just going back to my childhood, these were the figures that I always looked at in the stores and wish I had. Because these were, back then, leader classes were the best of the best. They were the most expensive. They were the best figures you can get. And back then, this is what we considered to be the best Optimus Prime from the movie. You had the original leader class releasing somewhere between 2006 and 2007. And then the premium series version, which came out in 2008, with a more accurate head. It's still not 100% accurate. I do actually still prefer the original, but the re-release came with his Energon swords, and then the original came with his gun, which fell off in shipping years ago when I got this guy. But yeah, back then, these were what we considered the best of the best. And again, just the packaging. I miss this packaging when you had the tech specs, their bios, just... yeah. But we then lead into Revenge of the Fallen. And before Revenge of the Fallen had come out, there were a lot of different variants of the Voyager class mold. You've also got the Night Watch version of the leader class mold, which is in more of a kind of shattered glass style of color scheme for Prime, but, you know, it's not shattered glass. But these were, again, the best figures. But then, out of nowhere, we go into Revenge of the Fallen and get what I still consider the best mainline Optimus Prime we have ever gotten. And here we have our first loose figure of the video, but you can see it's the 2009 leader class Revenge of the Fallen Optimus. And to this day, we still see figures using this mold. And it is just still holds up as one of the best figures we have ever gotten in terms of accuracy and even the transformation. Back in the day, this was the most, complicated Optimus Prime that anybody could have. You were scared to transform this thing because, you know, back then, still being a little kid, you were terrified that you weren't going to be able to get it back to robot mode if you went to truck. So, just still, as I said, still seeing engineering and inspiration from this mold. And it makes sense because this is still one of the best looking Primes we have ever gotten. And the fact that it came out in 2009 is still crazy. And then we get to Dark of the Moon. And Dark of the Moon is one of the toy lines that I didn't fully collect as a kid. You know, because back then you're a kid, your parents are buying you figures. Dark of the Moon is when it kind of started getting a little crazy. You have your little Cyberverse Optimus, which is one of my favorite little figures. You know, I broke him as a kid, so now he's accurate to the end of the movie. But they started I know they did have their Cyberverse Legends class figures for the first two movies, but after Dark of the Moon, we started getting a lot more of these. And then we have, I believe this is I think it was a deluxe class back in the day, but he's very loose. He can't stand on his own. And it's like, this is where things kind of started going downhill, in my opinion, for mainline Transformers. Because you've got figures like this, that it's not a bad figure by any means. It's just out of scale with everything else. Just interesting figure. But then you also had a remold of the '09 Leader Class figure with the Dark of the Moon abs. I never actually picked up that figure. That's going to be something I'm searching for within the next month with TFCon coming up. But then you have the Ultimate Optimus Prime figure that came out. That was the one with his trailer and the crazy flight tech that they came up with. That he's over in a massive display, so I couldn't grab him. But back then, that was like the coolest figure to me as a kid. I wanted that thing so bad. And to this day, I have bought another one. I have a sealed one and a loose one just because of what it means to me. But after Dark of the Moon, things kind of started going downhill. Age of Extinction, I'm going to say it, that's my favorite Bayverse movie. I love all the Bayverse movies because that's what I grew up with. But Age of Extinction, the toy line, kind of went downhill a little bit. We're not going to talk about Night Prime in this video. I wanted this one to strictly just be the Peterbilt truck version of the character. But then we got figures like the Evasion Mode, which still holds up as a great figure. But then the Leader Class Night Prime was a terrible figure. After that, that's kind of when we started seeing shell forming a lot more. And then toys just got simpler. And they got simpler and more expensive. So after Dark of the Moon, in my opinion, mainline stuff kind of started not being as good as it used to be, say, back in 2009. But what can you do? Now we've got Studio Series going back and fixing all those wrongs. But after Dark of the Moon, we now came to... we got the MPM mold, which, duh, is heavily influenced and based off of the 2009 Leader Class, which this is then what we considered one of the best primes on the market. But then we come back and look at him now, and he's like, oh, this thing kind of sucks. The legs are completely copied from the 2009 figure, just with a slight change being the side panels for the transformation. The arms, completely inaccurate. That's just for transformation. The chest, too in and sunken back with these weird hand signals I'm doing. The doors, too short. The sword is freaking huge. And then this is where we started seeing the idea of an Optimus Prime head that you just flip up and you rotate it around, and then you have the mouth. And this was one of my favorite figures back in the day. I thought he was really cool. He's not the best figure by any means. He's kind of just, his proportions are off. His legs are weird with how they pose. He's weird. He's really, really weird. But this then led to one of the best transformable primes we have ever gotten. So we then go from him, and then Studio Series kicked off. Studio Series is kind of an interesting one for me. I remember, 2019, maybe 2020, we see leaked images of Grimlock and thinking, wow. Because if you remember back to the Voyager class Grimlock that came out with Age of Extinction, it looked nothing like him. G1 color scheme, didn't look anything like him. And then we see these leaked images of a perfect figure. And then we get SS05, which, when I had first seen it, it was, holy crap, they're actually making an insanely good-looking Optimus Prime. We thought he was perfect. We all had the issues with his gut being a little too tiny, and then the very broad chest. But we kind of settled for it. That's all we thought we were going to get. We thought we were fine. And then they come back and hit us with SS32 and SS44. Pretty sure I got those numbers right. Which, same mold, same idea, but better and more accurate. which back then it was interesting, to say the least, because we go from, we're going to make the character, again, as accurate and as best we can, to then go from a 25 plus gap of figures, we get a new Prime that's more accurate and better than this one. And to this day, there's figures they've released in Studio Series that are still not the best. Namely, is it SS38 Bumblebee movie Prime? Based off concept art, very inaccurate. So there's still certain figures that could definitely use an update. But as far as modern day, really good Optimus Primes, you have these, and they're great figures. Just unfortunately, you can't get them anywhere without them being like $150 to $200. It's insane. I got all of these on release day for retail, so it's kind of crazy to see. But you come to this is the Dark of the Moon figure, just with these because the legs on the original are cracked, so I just swapped the abs. But then you have the DNA design kit, and that's the other thing. You've got Studio Series claiming to be the most screen-accurate representations of a character, but we still have to buy upgrade kits to make them look as they should. It's kind of interesting, right? So I love Studio Series. I do really wish they would go back to making Michael Bay figures. Like, I am burnt out with G1. Like, I spent years collecting G1 and then got excited when we're finally getting new Bayverse figures, but now it's just right back to G1, and then just, I need a new Evasion Mode and Night Prime in Studio Series. I need it. And now we have one of the best Transformers figures in general we have ever gotten, being the Weijiang Black Apple Thunder Leader. Little info on this guy. He is based on the NPM figure, which is based on the 2009 figure. But he takes almost a lot of things from the NPM figure, oversized him, and heavily remolded the figure to be as accurate as you are seeing him right now. The smokestack placement, accurate. The shoulders, accurate. The chest, accurate. The arms, accurate. The back, accurate. Everything about this figure is as accurate as we have gotten for a transforming Peterbilt Optimus Prime. On him, I have a sternum upgrade kit and the Quan Studios 2.0 upgrade head. They did just use the original NPM head, just bigger. I hate that head, so bought an upgrade one that makes him perfect. You do the headlight mod, you arrange the chest properly. I have a video on that, and you legit get one of the most accurate Optimus Primes we've ever gotten. I love this figure. I remember when the prototype was shown years ago, and my jaw just hitting the floor, because seeing the prototype, this was the best thing we've ever seen. Now, we have TMT coming out with a NPM scale Evasion Mode Prime. That could take the cake as the best looking NPM scale figure, because I love this guy. I think this is one of the best figures I have in my collection. Only issues are the chest is very wide and big. We've seen renders years ago. There was one on TFW. It was called like the China Perfect Optimus Prime, and it was just some dude that made renders for a fully transforming Prime that was perfect. And then he disappeared off the face of the earth. We've never seen it again. But now, again, you have TMT coming out with their Evasion Mode one, which the Evasion Mode Prime obviously being basically the exact same robot mode, just different chest, sternum, and then the vehicle mode being completely different. But they do have swap-out pieces for Dark of the Moon abs. So you could have him as a Dark of the Moon MPM Prime, just beat up and rusty. But as of now, to this day, this is the best transforming Optimus Prime we have ever gotten. Now let's talk about the most accurate figures we've ever gotten. Here we have the 3-0 and the Muscle Bear versions of the DLX scale Optimus Prime. The original DLX having upgraded feet, the chest, the traps, articulated hands, the sword, and a new head. This is the most accurate Prime I have in the collection. The proportions aren't 100% there, but he's perfect, in my opinion. Then you have Muscle Bear. A few years ago, they came out with MC003, which was a knockoff of this figure with all the original components, except a half the price. Came with everything, still relatively high quality, just not as painted and damaged. It was just bare colors. But now you have a month ago, a day after I ordered MC003 and the Dark of the Moon abs and arms from Dino Model Shop, Muscle Bear announces MC003F with the axe, with the shotgun, with the shield, with both of his original 07, 09 guns for the exact same price as the original knockoff. So I canceled my MC003, canceled my upgrade kits from Dino, went with this guy, got another Dino torso kit replacing the smokestack trap section and then the headlights on his hips. And he's frickin' perfect. I've considered doing a review on this guy, but I am waiting for another upgrade head. That's going to take like 2 months to finish. But just, these are, in my opinion, the most accurate Transformers. The most accurate Optimus Primes we've gotten. But they don't transform. And I know for a lot of people, if it doesn't transform, they hate it. For them, it's sacrilege. They can't take it. I love non-transforming figures. For me, I'm more accuracy over function. A lot of my figures I buy and I transform them one time, and then I stick them on the display and never transform them again. So having two just beautiful, super accurate primes that are insanely posable, just, that's what I prefer, honestly. But like I said, 3-0 knocks it out of the park with almost all of their releases. They're amazing. I love them. And then once you get upgrade kits on them from Dino Model, they're some of the best figures you've ever gotten. And they're not stopping. We now have their new Premium Plus line coming out with a massive Dark of the Moon Optimus that looks like the most accurate figure that we're ever going to get. Just doesn't transform, super big, looks amazing. You can buy the weapon ring. It's probably going to set me back like $2,000, but I'm ready for it. And then you have Yellow Park with their So-Skill model kits. They have a Dark of the Moon Optimus coming as well. It took years. I went my entire childhood wanting beautiful Optimus Prime figures, and now finally we're getting them. Just out of nowhere, the last couple years, we have been getting so many Bayverse Primes, and it makes me happy because this is my favorite look for Optimus just ever. But yeah, sorry for the rant. The DLX figure. These are the most recent figures we've gotten, but they're definitely not the last. And just real quick before we wrap up this video, I said I'd do the lineup, so here it is. We have the 2009 MPM Black Apple. So you can just see the evolution of this amazing mold over the last 15 years. I can't even, like, think of something to say because this is just hilarious to me because I really didn't realize how many Bayverse Primes I had. And there's still a couple that I didn't include in the video. Like, I have 5 or 6 variants of the 07 mold over on my display. I still have the original Voyager and Leader off on the ground. Like, this is wild to me. Like, we've got the old, you can see kind of some of the display over there. There's too much. It doesn't fit in my setup. But yeah, guys, there you have it. There's the kind of evolution of the figure. You can see crap off to the side, but yeah. And it makes me happy that there's still more coming. And I do apologize if there are some, again, that I left off the list. There are a lot of variations of the 09 Leader. There's a few more variations of everything, honestly. There are a lot of primes I still do not have. And I think that's going to be my new thing, is just tracking all of them down and getting them. But yeah, there you have it, guys. Again, sorry if I left some out. These were the notable ones that I wanted in the video. But if you guys are new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, because a lot of people that are here and have been here for a while know my upload schedule is non-existent. So I kind of just upload whenever I get something new, or if I get something I feel like I want to make a video on. But then today it was kind of just looking around my room and just seeing some stuff. It was just be kind of cool to put all these guys together. But yeah, drop a comment down below if there's anything you guys want me to review. I have a few collection videos up on the channel. If you view the most recent one, not a lot has changed since that. But yeah, we're going to be having a few videos coming out soon, because we got TFCon coming up in less than a month. And there's going to be a pretty big haul, I'm hoping, from that. So, yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.